Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is KD from DDV, and I am so excited to finally introduce our new podcast. This is Dudley's Dream Vacations presents Car Conversations. Okay, so I know that the people listening to this are probably like, why did he call this car conversations? And well, guys, I begin to think, I says, hmm, where do I spend most of my time? And besides being at work, most of my time is spent in the car. And so I says, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to start a podcast where every time I'm in the car, I am going to do this podcast. And so, welcome to our first official episode. This episode, we are going to talk about my personal review on Carnival's Mardi Gras. Now, most people do pronounce the name incorrectly. The name of it is actually Mardi Gras, but you'll hear people saying Carnival Mardi Gras. And this is because, well, to be honest, when you think of Mardi Gras, most people think about a huge party in New Orleans or in some places, Mobile, Alabama, for those who have done their history. But in this case, we are talking about Carnival Cruise Line's Mardi Gras. And my, what a ship it was. So here's a little background. My family takes cruises every 1 to 2 years, and we normally do them as a big group. Well, our last cruise was on Carnival Breeze in 2019, and it was such a fun time. I really think that that was my favorite ship ever, my favorite cruise ever. Those who know me know that I love the Dream class of ships with Carnival. That is my favorite ship class. We'll get into that a little later. So, obviously, Mardi Gras would be very different for us. And it was even more different because when we set sail on Mardi Gras, the difference was this was our first time sailing since the pandemic. And I know that a lot of people were saying that there were some changes and, not to expect too many changes. I would beg to differ. There were quite a few changes. However, it didn't mess up the overall feel of the cruise. But there were quite a few changes. So let's get into what I loved about the Mardi Gras. Well, I think I'm moving it too fast. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start with embarkation. Okay, so boom. The last cruise that we went on was in 2019. We went on the Mardi Gras in August of 2023. And this was a lot better, I would say, than 2019. And even in 2019, it wasn't bad. Both times we departed out of Port Canaveral. So again, I love Port Canaveral, by the way. So again, to be going out of that port, I have nothing but good things to say. Before we got to the embarkation, I parked using GoPort. Now, GoPort was very easy to use and very cost effective. I drove about 10 hours to get to Florida in my Dream Mobile, and it took me about 10 hours, and I was able to park at GoPort. Now, my only vice with GoPort was that when I got there to park, I was under the impressions that shuttles were running back to back. When in reality, by time the shuttle came, between the time that I parked and the time the shuttle came, took over 40 minutes. Now, again, most of my family were already at the ship. We were in a big group of about 40 people. Most of them were already at the ship because they took a coach bus. Well, I didn't want to leave my car parked at the hotel, so I had to drive to GoPort. And when I was looking on GoPort's website, I was thinking that the shuttles were going to just be running like every 5 to 10 minutes, but it took over 40 minutes. So I did not get to board with my family, unfortunately. But still, GoPort was a great experience for what it was. It was very cost effective. I felt like my car was parked in a safe environment. It didn't seem to be too bad of an area. So I did enjoy that. Let's see. So embarkation. Let's go back to embarkation. I did just want to share that if you're looking for somewhere to park, I recommend GoPort. But embarkation was smooth. Okay, embarkation was very smooth. I would say from the time that I walked in the terminal to boarding the ship, maybe it was just about 15 minutes. I didn't have more than 15 minutes of of waiting around the terminal. It was very easy to get on. They had everything in place um, to go ahead and get right on the ship. So great time. I picked the boarding time between 12:30 and 1, I think was our boarding time. So great time period to select. There were quite a few people in the terminal, which made me a little surprised that we were able to get in there so quickly and get on the ship. Kudos to the Port Canaveral staff. Kudos to the Carnival staff at Port Canaveral, to the porters, to everybody that just pitched in and did their part. I think that everyone did an amazing job. So, of course, we got to talk about the moment I stepped on to Mardi Gras. Now, again, this was my first cruise in 4 years. And let me tell y'all something. Words cannot describe how it felt going up what I'm going to call the gangway of excitement. Everybody who's been on a cruise knows that when you hit the gangway to walk up that ramp that goes zigzag, it is not a more exciting feeling in the cruise world. And when you get off, there's no more depressing feeling in the cruise world. But that was so exciting, getting on the gangway again after 4 years and being able to finally step aboard a ship. And let me tell y'all, my first thoughts on Mardi Gras was this is unlike anything I've ever seen from Carnival before. This was a completely different step than I've ever seen with Carnival. Now, I have done one Royal Caribbean cruise, which was Oasis of the Seas. Shout out to that ship. I know everyone has their preferences. I'm a Carnival lover. I don't know what you would call them, if you call it carnies or fun ship people. Anybody remember Fun Ship Freddy? You can call me Fun Ship KD because I am Carnival all the way. But I did like the Oasis of the Seas when I went. And stepping aboard Mardi Gras reminded me a lot of that experience. It reminded me of the experience where you get on board and you're not just in just a regular atrium. You guys know what I'm saying? You're not just in like, oh, there's the glass elevators. This is just the atrium. No, I stepped aboard to the Grand Central Zone, okay, where this was a completely different step for Carnival. The Excel class of ships is a class of ships that is completely set apart from anything that Carnival has done in the past. And so this was really amazing to step aboard and just had the opportunity to see all of the beauty. I mean, when you walk on board, you no longer feel like, you don't feel like you're on a carnival ship, in my honest opinion. I've done a lot of carnival ships. I've done Victory, Glory, Freedom, Sensation, Dream twice, Magic, Breeze. So it's been quite a few. I've done the Liberty. So this was a complete departure away from all of those other ships. I mean, like I said, my favorite class is the Dream class because of I know the layout. I've been on Dream twice, been on Magic and Breeze. So if you put me on a Dream class ship, you don't have to give me a map. I'll know exactly where I'm going. But on this ship, this was completely different. It was mind-boggling. So honestly, my first impression was just one word. It was wow. Carnival hit me with the wow factor again when I stepped aboard this ship. Okay, so now that we have my first thoughts, I want to move on to navigating the ship. As I said, I know my way around a Dream class ship. However, what I did not know was my way around an XL class ship. This was bananas to try to learn my way around this all over again. However, the navigation of the ship I found really easy because between decks 6, 7, and 8, you could walk front to back. So there was no issue with getting around. I could just take either of them decks to get to the front or the back of the ship. I found the layout of the ship very, very different but efficient. Um, Things were a little more spread apart, which at first I was worried about, especially when it came to like the food venues, because Cucina is on a different floor than it usually is. The pizza place was on a different deck than it usually is. Um, Guy's Burger was on a different deck than it usually would be. So I was concerned with the layout when I was looking at the ship schematics. However, I was very pleased because you know what? What it did was I feel like it offered a better crowd control. Whereas we're not all gathered, like if you go on Dream Class, Guy's Burger is on Lido Deck on the left and Blue Ground is on the right. And between those two places, the Lido Deck is packed with lines. So I felt like this was actually a good thing that they spread these venues out. That they spread like the comedy club was in a different location, and the Mardi Gras theater was in a more prime location. So I feel like they did well on actually spreading it out. And so I don't have any complaints on that. I think that the layout of the ship was great. And I just mentioned food, so let me get into that real quick. The food. Okay, y'all. Now, I may be a little biased just because I love Carnival, but I see a lot of negative Nancy's talking about the food on board Mardi Gras, on board any Carnival ship, really. But especially Mardi Gras, I saw a lot of negative food reviews. The only thing that I did not enjoy is when I went to Chibang for lunch. I didn't enjoy. Now, I was there with some family. They picked a different option than I picked. Maybe I should have done that. But I didn't really enjoy what I chose at Chibang, so that got, more or less like a 2 out of 10 for me. But however, I heard it's different at dinner. But I'm one of those people who I stick to the main dining room for dinner. I love my set dining time at 6 o'clock. I don't know if I got any other 6 o'clockers out there, but that is my set dining time. Any Carnival cruise I go on, I need my set dining. That's just tradition for me because I don't like anytime dining. I'm not a fan of it. I know some people love the flexibility of being able to go to the dining room pretty much whenever you want, but that's not my concern. I want to go to the 6 o'clock dining so I could see them do their dancing and their twirling and all of that, all of the showtime. In case you ever been on a Carnival ship and you haven't heard showtime, you're missing out. But so I'm good with 6 o'clock dining. So I wasn't going to go to Chibang for dinner. I did the dining room every night. But Chibang was really the only thing that was hit or miss. I don't eat sushi, so I did not go to the sushi place. I don't even know what it's called. I'm trying to think of it. If I can't think of it, it is what it is. I know that I did not go there. I mainly stuck to Shaq's. Shaq's was my favorite. Shaq's was like a 12 out of 10. I ate there every day. It was delicious, hot and fresh all the time, crispy, never soggy, awesome. Shaq's Guys, tried and true. I was down for Guys. I had Guys a few times. The buffet, I enjoyed the buffet. I know some people think that it was a very limited selection. However, I think that when you count on all of the food places that were on this ship, and then you look at the buffet, of course it'll seem limited because here it is, you're on a ship that has a steakhouse, has Emeralds, has a seafood shack, has Cucina del Capitano, has the pizza bar, has the Pig and Anchor, has Chibang, has Guys, has Shack, and probably other places that I'm not even thinking of at the moment. So of course the buffet is going to seem limited. But nevertheless, I enjoyed the buffet. The buffet was great for me for what I wanted at that time. I ate at the buffet. I don't think I ate there every day, but I did eat there a lot during the cruise. And each time I did, the food was great. I don't have any bad experiences about the buffet. Great. Let's move on to the main dining room. This is where I also see a lot of negative comments at because now listen, our sailing was the first sailing on Mardi Gras that offered the Emerald Selects menu. This is where Emerald has curated the dining room menu for Carnival ships going forward. I don't know if it's rolled out to all the ships, but I know that they're planning to. I enjoyed it. No complaints. My food was hot. It was fresh. It was tasty. No complaints. I enjoyed it. I am very picky when it comes to food. I will tell you that. I like my food well seasoned. I like it well prepared. I like it to have a flavorful combination and not be bland. And so for me to be saying that the food was good in the main dining room, I'm not just, saying, oh yeah, it was fine. No, the food was actually delicious. Some entrees I ordered twice. Of course, you can't forget your tried and trues like your Carnival chocolate melting cake, your shrimp cocktail, your banana splits. By the way, if you don't know, you can get a banana split on the children's menu. I found that out a couple cruises ago. And when you get your chocolate melting cake, make sure you get it with peanut butter and vanilla ice cream. Trust me, it'll change the game. Okay, so as far as food, I think that that's where I'm going to wrap it up. I personally enjoyed all of the food that I ate on Mardi Gras. No complaints at all. I want to just get into really quickly just the children's areas. I did take my two daughters with me on the cruise. Now, when I was going through Carnival, mind you, I went through every Carnival program. I went through Camp Carnival, I went through Circle C, and I went through Club O2. That's how long I've been cruising with Carnival. So I had no doubt in my mind that my children would enjoy themselves. I took my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. My oldest daughter never wanted to leave the camp, and my youngest daughter, for obvious reasons, she's like, no, I don't want to be here. I don't know these people. So she wasn't really too into it, but they tried their best to engage her. They give you this little phone where they call you if you have an issue. I may or may not have left my phone in my cabin while I was, having a good time, but um, they will track you down, by the way, parents that listen to this. If you don't answer that phone, they will track you down. Okay. But my youngest daughter, they did what they could, but my oldest daughter had a ball. I know it's Camp Ocean now, but it will forever be Camp Carnival to me. I kind of feel bad for this new generation of children that are growing up on Carnival cruises that do not have the Camp Carnival experience. Like Fun Ship Freddy coming out to party with you. Like they don't have that experience, and I feel like they are so missing out. But I had a great time when I was in those programs, and I think my daughters did too, especially my oldest daughter. So no complaints. Staff were amazing. The activities were great. Of course, you get an itinerary for what they're going to be doing, and they had a great time. I did the Night Owls program. They enjoyed the Night Owls. So, overall, no complaints with the children's program. They had enough activities, where, you can go and just have a good time while your children are well taken care of. Let's get into the entertainment. Okay, so now I wanted to go on record that my favorite cruise director is Marquis. Marquis, if you ever listen to this, just know you my dog. Okay, I love Marquis. Also, notable shout out the Reverend Dr. E. I know that he no longer works for Carnival, but he's a great one as well. With that being said, we had Jackie. I was very surprised because Marquis set a bar for me that, Jackie was great. He didn't hit that bar. I'm not even gonna lie, because Marquis was just, I'm a, I ain't even gotta explain. Marquis was just that guy to me. But Jackie was great. Jackie was high energy, he was funny, and he had his swag going on. I was like, okay, Jackie, I see you. He was really cool. Very personable. He was not, even with a ship of 6,000 people, it seems like Jackie made an effort to at least try to let everyone get to know him. I did get a picture with him, which is great. Overall, Jackie was fun. The fun staff, all of them, fun squad, they were great. The parties, oh my goodness, nothing beats a Carnival sail away party, okay? Sail away party was amazing as usual. They had the themed parties. One of them was 80s night. I had a great time at 80s night. My cousin lost her AirPod during the 80s night because we were really getting it to, what song was it? I don't know what it was, but something, what they play. It was like, just a small town girl, you know. But yeah, that one right there. She lost her AirPod to that, so I felt really bad for her. Um, but yeah, so that's the only thing that sucked about the 80s party, but everything else was great. I enjoyed all the theme parties. I enjoyed the shows. They had the new concept of center stage. I would say that center stage was great. The only thing about center stage that I did not enjoy was the seating. I could not really, unless you get there early, you can't really find a place to sit. And I am not a standing room only type of guy. Like if I got to stand, I'll go somewhere else. From what I did see, it was good. They had an aerialist show that I caught. They had what else did they have? Some type of magic show that was nice as well. I did catch Broadway Beats in the main theater. That is one of my favorite shows to see with Carnival, so I enjoyed that. I asked every night when they were doing that show, and finally I got to see it. My favorite song in Broadway is "You Can't Stop the Beat." So when they sung that, I about flung my seat over trying to get up and dance to it. So that was really, really, really great. So I enjoyed that entertainment, spot on. Again, Carnival, and I'm going to get into this in a later podcast, so I don't want to really touch on it too much right now, but Carnival really is the fun ships. when you go on Carnival, you're choosing fun. You're choosing the atmosphere of fun. It's a party all the time, from the youngest to the oldest. But again, I don't want to get into that too much because I will cover that later. But just know that I love Carnival. So, I know it's the fun ship. So, entertainment, great as usual. They usually say you get what you pay for, but I feel like with this cruise, I got more than what I paid for. So I had a great time. As far as the islands go, we went to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Mahogany Bay. Listen, Cozumel, tried and true. I've been there so many times that I know my way around Cozumel. I don't need a map. I don't need a tour guide. I just go. I literally get off and just start walking and go to all my familiar places and know they're not in the immediate tourist area. I know where I'm going in Cozumel. So that was great. Mahogany Bay, I hadn't been there in years, so that was really nice. I did not go to the beach. You'll find that I'm not a really beachy person, or a pool person. Like I didn't do the pools on board. Um, by the way, I think that they should expand the Lido deck. This is a little note. If they're going to build more Excel class ships, just make it wider and longer, because it was kind of cramped right there. But anyways, I'm not a beach person or a pool person. But it looked nice for what it was. Costa Maya was great. I didn't really do too much there. Just got off and, took all the sights in. So yeah, I don't want to draw this out too long because you guys have listened with me for so far, but this is my honest review on the Mardi Gras. And again, there's different strokes for different folks. A lot of people will have different opinions. A lot of people will think different things, but for me, I give Mardi Gras 10 out of 10. I think that this was a new step for Carnival. I think that they did a wonderful job. I do look forward to sailing on the Celebration and the Jubilee, so that I can get the feel of those ships as well. Because Dream Class is still my favorite, but XO Class is my second favorite now. I do love that class. Um, I did not get to do the roller coaster. I did the ropes course, but I did not get to do the roller coaster because, like a person who has never rode a roller coaster on a cruise ship before, I waited 2 days until the last day of the sailing, 2 days prior, to try to book the appointment, and there were no appointment slots left. So I did not get to ride the roller coaster, unfortunately, but the ropes course was great as usual. I'm terrified every time I go on the ropes course, and I continue to do it. So I need help. But other than that, it was great. Fantastic. Debarkation, horrible because I don't have a passport. Well, I have a passport, but it expired, so I had to use my birth certificate in this place. That line was so long, and that's the only reason why I would give that a 1 out of 10. I don't know what can be done differently when you have a birth certificate, but that was horrible. Now, people who had passports, they was going through the line like boom, 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 boom. Birth certificates, I was in that line for the longest. Oh my goodness, that was horrible. But again, not necessarily Carnival's fault. I mean, it's 6,000 people up there, and if 3,000 of those people decide to use birth certificates, you gotta kind of take the good with the bad there. So my recommendation is get your passports. The next cruise I go on, I will definitely have my passport so I can get in the fast line. But other than that, 10 out of 10, great time. I hope you enjoyed my but brief and hopefully detailed review. Again, I'm a Carnival lover. I loved Mardi Gras. I do want to sail on it again just so I can explore more that I didn't get to explore because, I was brand new to that class of ships. So I was trying to do everything, and then I got stuck in just certain areas. Like I think it wasn't until like the last part of the cruise that I saw the other side of deck six, where the brass magnolia is. I was like, oh, there's a whole other side here. So I would like to explore it a little more. So I would love to sail on Mardi Gras again. But overall, definite great time. Highly recommend the Mardi Gras to all those looking to cruise. It's great for families, and it seems like it would be great for individuals. Well, that'll wrap up this podcast for now. I hope that you all enjoyed. I will be putting these out hopefully weekly. So that we'll get into some more topics. If you have any suggestions, you can send them to us on either Facebook at facebook.com/Dudley Vacations, or you can send them to us on Instagram, searching Dudley Vacations in your search bar. Again, this has been a Car Conversations podcast with Dudley's Dream Vacations. And remember, we're not just here to help you, we're here to make your travel dreams come true. See you next time.